Hello and welcome back to Epworth Bible Moments. We've already covered Genesis 21 in the story of Abraham, Sarah, Hagar, and Ishmael, so let's move on to Genesis 22 where the Bible says God tested Abraham by ordering him to sacrifice his son Isaac to God. Now remember that the book of Genesis is the first one in the Bible. It's pre-law. We don't have the details of the elaborate sacrificial system that evolved under Moses' leadership and is reflected in the book of Exodus and following. Israelites were expected to give offerings to God according to the law for various sins or festivals, some of them grain offerings and some of them animal or bird offerings. We first saw reference to this in the story of Cain and Abel. Cain was a tiller of crops, the Bible says, and Abel tended sheep. Each one brought his best offering to God. But the Bible says, for some reason, God preferred Abel's, and in a fit of jealousy, Cain killed Abel. Now, this story indicates early on that the Israelites believed God preferred the scent of burning flesh as it wafted to the heavens more than the scent of burning grain. Now, this story of Abraham and Isaac may trouble you. Why would God put Abraham through such torture? What kind of father is Abraham that he would even consider giving his firstborn as a human sacrifice? Are there other points that this story could be making? Yes. First of all, this story marks a distinction between Abraham and the future Israelites and the Canaanites, who did practice child sacrifice. So while Abraham responds to God's apparent test, in the end, God provides a ram to be sacrificed instead of Isaac, thus making it clear that God does not expect the firstborn son to be given to God as a burnt offering. It also introduces us to a very holy site, Mount Moriah, the site on which King Solomon later built the temple in Jerusalem. Now, chapter 23 tells us of the death of Sarah and her burial in the cave at Machpelah due to an interesting property exchange between Abraham and the Hittites. So let's jump over to chapter 25 where we learn that Abraham took another wife. Her name was Keturah. Now, this occurred chronologically in the Bible after the death of Sarah, but she may have been an additional wife in addition to Sarah. At any rate, this wife gave him 6 sons, and the most well-known name among those 6 sons is Midian, father of the Midianites. We meet one of the priests of Midian, Jethro, in the story of Moses, where Moses married one of Jethro's daughters. Now, after learning of these 6 bonus sons for Abraham, we learn that Abraham died and was buried with Sarah in that cave at Machpelah. The Bible says both Ishmael and Isaac buried their father, but we learn in chapter 25, verses 5 and 6, that Isaac was the one who received the inheritance. All the other sons only received gifts. So before the next lesson, we hope you'll read the story of Isaac's marriage in Genesis 24 and 25 through the end of 28. Join us next time for Epworth Bible Moments.